Hey all, this is Darren Benton again with Performance Motorcoaches. I'm going to do a little video on a pretty brisk fall day in northern Indiana. We just picked up this rig right here from Renegade. It will be headed back to Texas later on this afternoon. I want to do kind of a highlight inside and outside, and then we might get an opportunity to do one more video when it gets back to Texas once we get some of the aftermarket stuff done to it. But we'll go ahead and jump into it. So this is a Renegade Classic. It's a CMR, which is a 4-slide opposing seating, opposing slide floor plan. Very, very common floor plan. Probably our #2 floor plan with Renegade. The cool thing about this on the Classic, you can build it with or without a bunk over. So this unit was actually scheduled, and the customer changed his mind from a Explorer over to this Classic. We made some modifications for him, added paint to it, and here's the finished product from Renegade. As far as the chassis goes, kind of my #1 premier chassis, the Cascadia 126, so the longer hood Cascadia. It will allow you to go to the 600 horsepower Detroit, so the DD16 with 1850 torque. So kind of my go-to chassis, go-to engine, and then additionally the transmission is the DT12 transmission, which is a very desired transmission in that there's 12 speeds. Allows you for a lot more acceleration in the hills. If you're towing at all, it's much better than the Allison transmission in my opinion. Got to peer into the cab a little bit. Very easy entry into the cab. Of course, you'll have your fuel tank there, 120-gallon fuel tank. Turn the lights off. 120-gallon fuel tank, and I believe those are 18-gallon DEF tanks. We just filled it up. This will all have auto locking baggage compartments. Luckily, they're unlocked. I wasn't worried about that for a second. It does have 4 lithiums on board, the dual Victrons. It does have the 50-amp Victron controller. I don't know if we'll add any additional solar panels up top, but the nice thing about the Victron is everything is easily convertible, easily changeable. If a guy needed to add additional batteries, add additional burner, maybe do like a multi-plus or anything beyond that, very easy to take and add. 4 of those 270 amp hour batteries, which is plenty of amp hour on board. Be able to run the center air conditioner easily overnight, run the rest of the coach overnight. Of course, not too much of an issue right now, but as it gets cooler, basically be able to run several days running your heat just strictly off of your Aquahot. It does have the macerator pump on your greywater, blackwater, so you have 2 75-gallon waste tanks there, 1 gray, 1 black, and the macerator pump to go along with it. Nice, easy to use, easy to operate. Come time to put a little water in it. If you want to fill your tank, very simple. And then if you want to use the city pressure, boom. So no real guessing game there. And then reel the water hose back into place. Coach has not been winterized yet. I guess probably next month, we'll be winterizing all the coaches before they head back to Texas. It does have the onboard water filter system here. Very easy to use system within the wet bay there. And there is a Aquahot register within that. Anything over 40 foot, if it's a tandem axle, will have the 12.5 Onan standard, very easy to operate. Generator, well, very easy to service. What I like about the Onan 12.5 versus the 8Ks, get in there to do any service work. We generally evacuate all the oil out, suck from there, pull the entire filter housing out, put your oil in your oil filter, thread it back on, put it back into place. So you can do it very easily without making any kind of mess at all. 6 quarts of oil on board on the 10 and 12.5s. Our transfer switch right there, there is a 50-amp plug inside, so if you had a big trailer or if you had a friend that needed to be able to plug in, back over here to the left, yep, that's the 50-amp plug right there. Always make sure you put your little, we'll do some tips. Make sure this always goes into place, because we've had plenty of people call with their shore cord running 36 foot out from back behind the coach. Of course, the Classic is unique. 1, it's the only bunk over available, and then 2, it has no rear cap. So a little bit more utilitarian, square rear end on it. We can add additional lights, which helps out quite a bit for additional visibility if you're flat towing at all. We'll go through and do a blackout. We'll change the bezels here. We won't change the bezels up there, unfortunately. Central vac on board, which the nice thing about adding the central vac is you do get the 110 plug to go along with it. So if you need to be able to charge, you know, drills or anything like that, it'll all go in there. You do have a port inside. 3/4 pass-through, which is an option on all the classics, on all the 40 and up classics, that is. Nice to be able to put a long ladder in place. It does have the midship turn signals there. So 24 and newer will have this combined storage compartment right here. And then your Aquahot will be in place here. This is the 450. You can do an option for a 600. We've done a few power washer setups within the Aquahot bay, which has been pretty nice because we can tap into the 110, we can tap into the water on board and be able to just store everything inside there and still be able to utilize the room. But the 600 is not enough room, unfortunately. Outdoor TV is locked, so we'll just kind of skip that. Dual rooftop Gerards. It does have the fake profiles on this side to kind of aesthetically match all that. All the TVs are cranking, so I'll make sure to get these TVs turned off. I get this rear one as well. There's a remote for the pop-up TV there. But you can see very, very accessible coach, even with the slides in the in position. Like I said, you can see the televator here. When they went to the Lambright, I think the theater seats got a little bit less depth. So, you know, obviously I'm 6 foot tall, a little over 200 pounds, so there's plenty of room to be able to walk through here, even with that televator in place. Probably next year is when they'll kind of go back to some options on not doing a televator if you want to do a fixed TV, or if you want to do a flip over couch right there. As of right now, this is just a jackknife couch for somebody that would be relatively small. There again for 24, they did hydraulic slide over here. I won't bore you with all the slides, but I will show you how smooth this slide right here goes out. Not that it was a real issue with the slide in the past, but it's definitely nice to have the hydraulic just a little bit smoother going out. We optioned 2 of the picture windows here. There again, they eliminated the option for the larger picture window, but it's coming. It's coming. I can assure you I've got some stuff that is coming that will have the much larger picture window. 36-inch picture windows here and 30-inch picture windows here, and basically eliminating these places you might take and store your Cracker Jack boxes or your box mashed potatoes. To me, not a lot of storage in those, but there again, kind of preference. I like to be able to see all the way out the coach without having to kind of go this number and kind of look out the window themselves. So as far as colors, there again, this was on order, so no really deviations with the interior color. This is my go-to as far as the wood stain. So it's a Lakewood, which more has a brown tone, but will lend itself gray as well. The Elegance Pro Gray floor, which is my favorite floor in that it's a little bit tighter. It's not porous at all, so it doesn't show nearly as many footprints on the floor itself. And then the Aurora Cloud countertop, and then the customer did deviate slightly and went with the Stone Project white backsplash, which I hadn't done in the past, but there again, it's a nice look to it as well. So like I said, it does have the bunk over, which as of right now, your only big chassis that you can get with the bunk over is the Classic. And then all the Cascadias, we take and open this up. You can technically take this out, but there's really no sense in taking it out. It just allows you a little bit easier entry in and out of the cab. You got to duck down a little bit, but it's not nearly like, you know, so a Volvo or a Peterbilt that has much less room. Of course, whenever we do the bunk over, we generally option escape hatch right there. I'd imagine as the temperatures get a little bit cooler, we'll probably come up with some inserts to go in place there, just for some additional insulation within that hatch itself. These are electric, like I said, they're Lambright. A little bit of storage below here. And then as of right now, your filler cushions go into place. There again, we don't really get too many people that utilize the drop-down dinette for any kind of sleeping, just because there again, just not a lot of room unless you have a really small child there. Dual USBs within the plugs there, and then they did upgrade to the USB-Cs in place on the 23 and newer. I don't think there's any storage below this. Nope, I take that back. Question is just a little, so you put some small bedding perhaps in place there. Kind of open these up just so if people are curious to kind of know what's into place. We have some additional parts there. We're actually going to take and put a desk there for the customer. So the desk is already in place. The desk is already back in Texas. We have some additional parts that will make up that desk, and like I said, we'll try to do a video of the finished product there. You'll notice all the drawers themselves, they're all dovetail, and they're all soft close as well. Be able to have enough room to be able to put a wastebasket below that. I'll crank down all these windows. Very important to take and make sure all your windows are closed before you get on the road. Tighten them down. If it's 110 degrees, don't tighten down too much because the window might come apart. Come back here mid-coach. Nice pantry layout. So I wanted to highlight something that I might have talked about in the past, but just, you know, in terms of quality and what other people are looking at whenever they design these coaches and build these coaches, and things that, you know, very often kind of get unnoticed unless it was an issue. So I want to show you this right here. So let's say this door right here, you kind of catch this edge right here. So that piece right there, if you just were relying on somebody to open this up, essentially that metal slide is going to hit and gouge your wood itself, versus this guy right here, the little Teflon piece that goes into place will actually force that open. So small little things like that you know, ask, you know, kind of what's different about Renegade, and people do think about that, do try to build a better product. We'll be doing Starlink on this, and this is our kind of our go-to to be able to put the Starlink in that cabinet right there, because we have existing 110. We essentially go within here, and then we go up through the light and get up on the roof. Big pantry right here, and this is convertible pantry, so if you needed to use it for hanging storage, you already have a hanging in place. We could add a hanging down below. Washer dryer there. I'll get into this small half bath right here, but still a fair amount of room to be able to sit down and do your business and be able to see a little bit of wildlife outside. We'll come around here to the master. So 66-inch wide bed. We've done a few that have run a full 72-inch wide bed. You do the 72-inch wide bed, essentially you lose that cabinet on each side. We've got some upgrades we're doing on some XLs in the future for 72-inch wide bedded instead of the 66. And essentially we'll take those and cut those down and put them into place to be able to accommodate for the mattress. 2 75-gallon water tanks below the bed itself, so a fair amount of fresh water on board. There again, small things that people don't think about. So this is put into place to be able to access all the plumbing on the back side of the shower. This was an addition for 24. To be able to access a little bit more within the closet itself. I think probably next year they might take like a step further and do some additional drawer space back within the closet just to have a little bit more room. Of course, there again, all soft close, and make that for entertainment. Like I said, hopefully we can maybe get rid of that because no one's putting that many entertainment items within there. Come back to the bath. I guess they technically did winterize it because there's a little bit of RV antifreeze, so I won't jump into board there. I just noticed some water in the wet bay. So 41-inch shower, fair amount of room. Stone Project white instead of black. I'll take and do this. This is something we generally do before they ship, just to keep this in place. Kind of tighten that up so we don't have to worry about that falling within the floor itself. Large convertible cabinet there to be able to adjust your shelves for different height items. There again, plenty of room there. Plenty of room in there as well. And then I'll plop down on the toilet. You see some good room in here as well. As far as air conditioners, they started this a little bit nicer upgrade to the AC covers. They're hinged there, so you can still service them. We've had some people inquire about doing this without some stainless steel inserts. That's something we could basically just break down once it gets to the dealership and either cover those stainless steel inserts or just be able to put a wood insert in there as well. So very good floor plan in regards to whether you're trying to accommodate a small family or a couple with opposing seating. Like I said, they will take and add their desk because they're going to go full time and have a desk in a position there, but you still have additional seating groups, and you know they'll retain the TV in place there. Excited about getting the desk into place. We've done a few cabinets to the CMR in the past, but we haven't done a desk yet. So with all plans, hopefully probably about 2 weeks we should be back home. We should have the first XL, our first 2024 XL, which we'll do a very lengthy video about the new 2024 XL, kind of what's new on it, and then what will be new going a little bit further into the 2024s as well. But excited to keep on rolling these coaches out the door. We stay consistently busy. We appreciate everyone that comes and watches these videos. Appreciate all of our customers that come and either order a coach from us or buy an existing coach. It's always a lot of fun for us. We have a lot of passion for these coaches. Our team back home in Texas does a phenomenal job taking care of the customers, taking care of the units when they get there. So very different buying experience that I don't believe most people have whenever they spend, whether, I don't care if you're buying a Valencia or buying a Classic, we get the same service at our dealership there in Texas. So make sure you guys like, tag, and subscribe. Make sure you guys keep on coming back.